Hello and welcome back to our bonus episode for those made to do future-proof marketing. We're joined again with Shyair Ganglani, founder of Madex AI, and we're going to be answering the wildcard question that we proposed in our main episode. So for a bit of context, Shyair, we tried to make the wildcard question a little unexpected, thought-provoking, and the sky's the limit on how you approach it. And we say this to all our guests as well. So I'm going to repeat the question. How can AI be harnessed to personalize marketing messages and recommendations for the diverse customer base in the MENA region? And we can dive right in.
Big question.
That's a big question. How wild can I go here?
Very,
Yes.
as wild as you can.
All right. Okay, so let's start a little less wild, but it's still pretty wild. If you asked me a year ago, could AI do this? But it's a little less wild than where I'll end up. Already what you can use GenAI for, right, is to take your one single key visual or your one single asset and then get it to generate infinite amount of iterations of that asset to then better suit the customer or the audience that you're going after, right? So before, if I was making an ad campaign for, let's say, Always, I would make one campaign that was meant to resonate with all the women in Saudi Arabia, right? Now, what you can do using AI is you can take that one campaign and then feed it in there such that if, let's say, Mandy's getting the ad, she will see a visual with a girl that looks more like her, right? Whereas if Bianca's getting an ad, she will see a visual that has a girl that looks more like her. And typically before, if I wanted to do that, it was almost impossible because it's, limited resources. Now you can do that. So you can really customize your end asset that reaches the consumer's eyes to really look and resonate with her. And I'm just the person or what the talent on the visual looks like. There's everything, the messaging, the claim, the pricing, all of this can be dynamically now optimized to really suit the consumer that it's reached, right? So that's where AI becomes very powerful, as well as understanding the micro segments of your consumers, right? Before, I don't have the time or resources to sit and understand each micro segment of my consumer. I'm going to understand the 80 for 20 and just launch. But now again, with AI, especially Maddox, you can actually sit and really deep dive granularly onto your consumers so you can hyper personalize the experience for them, right? But that's not so wild anymore. That's already being done. What's wild is when you're going to have to start to design and adapt your campaigns, not for the consumer, but for her AI ambassador. Have you guys heard or hypothesized what an AI ambassador could be?
Almost like my very own personal assistant that knows me quite well and knows my preferences and can make decisions for me in the marketing space.
So today, if you're rich and famous, like Mandy, you'd probably have a team. You'd have a personal shopper. You'd have, a personal assistant, etc. and so on. And because that person or those people are part of your team, they will, really understand you and your needs. And so they're able to go out, do things for you or shop things for you or bring things to you without you having to coach them or kind of tell them, this is what I want. As consumers today, we are doing everything ourselves, right? I mean, the vendors that we're interacting with, they all have vendor management systems and they all have automation systems. But if I want to buy something as a consumer, let's say I'm traveling to Italy next week and I want to buy a pair of swim shorts, I have to go to Google. First, I need to search, okay, who's selling swim shorts? Then I go onto Amazon or Namshi or Unas, whatever. Okay, which brand do I want? Then I filter. Then I'm, this is my size. Then they deliver it. And then, okay, but it's not really fitting. And then I have to return it. But then I have to go make the return request. Let's not scare your audience. As consumers today, a lot of the stuff we do is manual. Why can't we have, like you said, a personal ambassador, personal assistant that just knows us through our behaviors, through our wants, our needs, our calendar, our context. They know so much context about our lives that they can then tomorrow go out and do these things for me, right? So instead of me saying, hey, I'm traveling to Italy next week, I know I'm going to be spending time at the beach. I want to buy a pair of swim shorts. I've booked my ticket to Italy. My AI ambassador has come back to me. Siri kind of does a little bit of this already today, right? They add it to your calendar based on you booked a ticket. Do you want to add this to your calendar? The next step is AI will tell you, hey, we see on your calendar you're going to Italy. We know from your last trip that you like to snorkel. Is there anything you might want to pick up? Sunscreen, swimming trunks, snorkeling mask for your trip? Have you already picked that up? Do you want to pick it up? Here are 3 things based on your needs, wants, and preferences that we think you're going to need. We went out and scoured Amazon, Namshi, and Unas, where you typically shop, brought for you these curated list of products, right? So consumer standpoint, our lives are about to get much easier, hopefully. But for a brand, it's going to get a lot trickier. For a marketeer, it's going to get a lot trickier because now you won't be just advertising to the consumer, you're advertising to her AI ambassador. And so what are the nuances and tweaks that you need to do there to really grab the AI ambassador's attention versus the consumer? Because that's the gatekeeper now. I'm not talking to the consumer directly anymore.
Yeah.
And more likely than not, as we progress, because people hate ads, let's be honest. As a marketer, I wish they didn't, but they do, right? So in the future, as soon as this technology exists, consumers are going to be like, this is my ambassador. You talk to her. Don't talk to me, right? So how is marketeers, can we now leverage this and actually adapt our marketing and our strategy and our content to really resonate with the ambassador versus the consumer themselves? So
yeah, I love
that's
that.
pretty wild.
Especially since my AI ambassador won't have any of my emotional triggers, or so you hope, right?
Absolutely, right. Oh, but maybe you would want it to have some of its your emotional triggers, right?
Yeah,
It depends
maybe.
on the category you're
like
shopping
I
for.
love this brand. Everything this brand tries to
Yeah.
sell, we're
Bring it to me.
receptive.
I saw in your calendar you went for a brunch on Saturday, and it's now Sunday. Would you like a detox juice and
Some vitamins? Yeah, no, I love that. But it is so true because I think a lot of marketing is around getting to know your customer really well, and we talked a lot about that in the main episode around, you know, all the data we're collecting and all the things we know and the channels we use as marketeers. But at the same time, a customer may react very differently to the same ad based on their own emotional and mental state. And I think in 2024, we're talking so much more about emotional well-being or mental health. And if I'm having a really happy day and I've just been paid, I'm much more likely to be receptive to ads and to make a big spend versus if I'm having, you know, a really bad day and I have a headache or things like that. So I think having that kind of gatekeeper there will definitely support me better as the consumer, but it will make life a little bit harder for the marketeers.
I like that. It's a little bit harder for the marketeers because we'll have to adapt, but also a little bit easier, a little bit more efficient. Why is it? I love the example you just gave because I have constantly advocated that you shouldn't be always on your social media, right? Like,
Yeah.
find the right moments when the consumer is receptive. She's having a coffee in the morning, you want to hit her then, or, you know, like you said, 31st payday, so hit her then. Whereas most brands tend to be always on because the reasoning there is that you just never know. There's so many consumers, right? Billions. You
Yeah.
never know what mood that one person you're hitting is, so you want to just always hit them no matter what, and then hopefully you get them in the right moment. Now with the AI ambassador, it'll be slightly more efficient because you know that at any moment is the right moment as long as you're hitting it with the right message, the right benefit, and the right proposition. The ambassador will be receptive to it and take it back to the end.
especially if you could tell it, say, hey, I booked a vacation in August, so July I'd like to save money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Only
please don't bring me any ads.
only send me suggestions that are on a discount or something like this, you know, like
Yeah.
How do I install this on my wife's phone?
yeah.
And if you figure that out, tell me as
Yeah.
well. I need
I
it too.
will.
But do you think that will get to a point where AI is just curating everything and giving me the final decision? Or will AI be making decisions for me and just say, hey, I just bought you this new pair of headphones?
I think it's a staggered approach. I think initially, as you know, trust and credibility needs to be built, people will use it more as a curation, like bring me and I will make the final decision. But as we keep using it, and as in fact, you know, AI kind of delivers happiness automatically, like, hey, this is exactly what I was looking for. And the more I trust my AI ambassador, the more permission I'm going to give it to, hey, just shop for me and come back. Especially for like the low cost, low impact stuff, right? Like if I'm a working mom, if I'm a working dad, and I have a household to run, right? I want my AI ambassador who knows the people or the personas living in my house to go out and do my supermarketing, right? They know that monthly I buy X amount of garbage bags, toilet paper, kitchen rolls, soap, etc., right? They know that, okay, my daughter might be hypoallergenic to certain things. My son doesn't like or has a gluten allergy and so can't eat bread with gluten. AI will know all this about my family, and then I can trust it to go out and do the supermarketing, right? And as it gets better, I can trust it to go out and do more and more high impact purchasing for me. So yeah.
can we take one step further and look at the metaverse? Because I know this is another space that you love and you've done so much work in. So if we're thinking of avatars as well in the metaverse and the power of branding there, what's the correlation? What's the translation of an AI ambassador into the metaverse?
I've not actually thought about that. That is
There
brilliant. Because if you have a digital or intelligent replica of your personality, your needs, wants, etc., you could technically put that into
turn that into an avatar,
right, and embody it, and then put that into the metaverse to do things for you, right? It could shop for you, it could engage with your friends for you, it could attend a baby
baptism. Theft? I don't know. I'm not sure I'm ready for it.
I mean, but that's the thing with the metaverse, especially with blockchain. You could put in the verification needed such that no one steals your identity, but maybe you could go and attend your friend's baby's baptism in the metaverse, and you don't actually have to be there because you're off in Italy.
No, if there's
that's a very cool
if
idea.
I ever get invited to a baptism in the metaverse, I'm going. Okay, I want to see what's happening there.
It's wild. It's a once in a lifetime. You'd be like, at first you'd be like, this is a bit silly, but then you realize, hey, actually,
no, you get into
this
it.
works. Yeah, you get into it.
Love it.
Okay. Thank you, Shyair.
Thank you, guys. This was lovely.
It's been really fun. We always wrap up the conversation and just ask, is there anything you'd like to share with us, share with our listeners, anything you want to plug? This is your opportunity.
This is like, I don't know if you guys have seen Hot Ones, and it's like at the end, it's like, camera over there, camera over there. I love it. So what I've been working on, like I said, for the last, 6 to 8 months, when I say I mean I have a beautiful team, really smart guys. What they're putting together is a AI co-pilot for marketeers and product developers to really help you understand the consumer through each stage, right? So like I said, when I was working on Always, it was very hard for me to understand the consumer. If I had something like Maddox and our research AI called Lella, if I had this while I was working at P&G, I probably would not have quit my job. But now I'm able to, understand the consumer nuances at every stage, from what are the market trends? What is the consumer looking for? Will my product really work for her? That whole cycle that we talked about in the last episode. You can go through that cycle in minutes using Maddox and save millions, right? Not everyone has the budget or the pockets of a P&G and Unilever. So what I really want to help do is democratize consumer research for everybody. And that's what we're doing in Maddox. So go check it out.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Shyair. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for everything you've shared with us.
Thanks so much. And we'll look forward to the shots.
Bye.